Chronological Bible in a Year Reading Plan, Day 67. Today we were in Numbers 31 and 32, and there were two interesting things that jumped out at me that I wanted to point out to you. First, we see the Israelites taking on and defeating the Midianites, but they take some of the Midianites captive, and Moses is like, wait, some of these captives are the women who were part of the plan to take us away from God. Like, why did you take the cause of the plague, those who brought about the evil, into the camp? The whole purpose was to purge the evil. But what then really stuck out to me is that they do take some of them in, the ones who were not guilty of prostituting themselves and spreading their false gods. They were allowed in. So purity does not mean exclusivity. Rather, it means as people come in, we introduce them to the truth, and they have to choose if they follow the truth. This can seem narrow-minded to some, but by saying, hey, you have to embrace the truth, that shouldn't be narrow-minded. That should be loving. I would love to know your thoughts. Would you consider that narrow-minded, that, hey, you're part of Israel now, you have to act like us? Or do you think that's right? I'm biased, so you can probably tell where I fall on that, but I would love to hear your thoughts. But another element of this, we learn whose plan this was. Whose idea was it to use these women to pull Israelite from their God? And it was a guy named Balaam. Now, if Balaam sounds familiar, it should. Just a few days ago, we read about Balaam. He was the pagan prophet that was hired to curse Israel, but 3 times instead he blessed them. He was the prophet who God spared by way of a talking donkey. But over time, it seems he quit listening to God. He quit listening to his donkey, and he helped create this plan to rip Israel away from God. And he paid dearly for this. He paid with his life. But then the second thing that stood out to me was in chapter 32. We see the ancestors of Gad, Reuben, and half of Manasseh, which came from Joseph, saying, hey, can we stay in this land east of the Jordan? The promised land, the land God is guiding us to, is west of the Jordan, but can we stay here? And through some negotiation, Moses says yes. And I'm curious to see how this plays out in Israel's future, because if you look at an Israelite map today, those settlements are not part of Israel, they're part of Jordan. So these 3 or 2.5 tribes took a land outside of the promised land. How will that play out in biblical history? I'm excited to find out. So let's keep reading and learn what we can, but until then, God bless.